If you're a brand new influencer and you're trying to establish your footprint on this industry, how do you find potential brand partners for future deals? You have to do your research. Now, obviously, you can go to social media, see what other influencers are doing, who they're working with, what companies are hiring. You can get on influencer platforms. You can do all of those very basic, very easy things that people suggest that you do, especially when you're starting out in this industry. But I got a tip for you. I want you to go to the store. I just want you to go to the store and see what brands are on the shelves. What is on the market right now? And what's on the market right now that's maybe not getting as much attention as some of the bigger name things? You can be going into the dog food aisle if you are a dog influencer, and you can be looking at those big brand name dog biscuits or dog food or dog toys, but look at some of the more boutique brands. Make sure it aligns with what you want to do as an influencer. So you want to make sure you're checking to make sure things align with what you want on an ethical level, and then start to think about working with those things. I want you to go into the fashion section of your favorite store and start seeing what brands they are working with. You can start thinking about potentially working with these things. And again, we're looking for not the super high names, but the next block down. So you're not going to walk into Target and say, I am going to do a brand deal with Target. You're probably not if you're brand new. You are looking for smaller things on the shelves. So go and look for the nail polish brand that you really like, or go and look for a really cool snack brand that you like on the shelves. Find those things and start thinking about that. And you're going to start creating content for those things. Now, it's not going to be super marketing to them, but you are going to start using them inside of the content you're already creating. So let's say you've picked a product, you have walked in and you found something that you like, and you are going to be creating something around what you like. Let's say we're going to use this water bottle. I particularly like this brand. You're going to see it a lot in my content. And so I'm going to use this, but I'm not going to make it all about the water. I am going to use it as part of a roundup for my content. So let's just say I'm going to be creating a piece of content on how best-selling authors prepare to write their novels. And as part of that, I am going to talk about what I do to get my desk ready. And part of that is going to involve putting my water bottle next to me closed so it can't spill on my computer. That way, I am showing it off. I'm showing it in use. I'm showing that people can be doing this in their real space as well, but it's not directly commercialized to this particular brand, and I might have several brands in it. So you're going to go to the store and you're going to start doing your research. You're going to look around at the smaller, the medium, even some of the bigger ones, and you are going to start doing your research. Now, you don't have to buy these things. You don't have to go and create content on these things. I just want you to start taking note of them. Take a picture on your phone or write it down on a note, brands that you could potentially be using in the future, or things that you could be starting to think about how you're going to work into your content. Because remember, we're not outright giving commercials to companies that we're not necessarily working with. If you find something you love and you want to do that, by all means, go for it. But for the most part, you want to put it in part of another video that you're doing or another piece of content that you are creating. This is going to allow you to showcase them, to show that you're using them, to give example content to show the brands when you reach out to them in the future. And it's going to start to get your audience prepared for the things that they're going to be able to see later on. If you're brand new in the influencer space, not everything needs to be a commercial and not everything needs to be a brand deal or a sponsorship. Just talk about your life and the things that you love and the things that you're already using. And if you're already using these things, that is going to work to your benefit. Now, one pro tip here for you. I do not want you to exclusively lean into one thing. Let's say you do want to work with a water brand at some time and you only ever use the one brand, and then another brand might potentially want to work with you. What are they going to do if they only see you exclusively working with the one? So use different variations of this or use them sparingly. So let's say you want to lean into a nail polish that you really like. You're not going to exclusively use that if you are a beauty and fashion influencer, because then you're alienating the other companies. Use different brands, use different varieties, and show lots of different things to your audience so that when the time comes for you to start being hired, people are going to be able to reach out and see that you are accessible and you have built the community for them. So let's go back into our store mindset. I want you to walk into a store. I want you to have your phone out. You are going to have your phone camera open or your notes open, and you're either taking photos or you are writing down the titles, the topics, the whatever of what you're seeing. If you come up with ideas along the way, please write them down. How you can be using that lunchbox, how you can be using that end of summer thing, how you can be using the new fall fashion line. If you've got ideas, write them down and now start slowly creating that content. When you decide that you want to work with something, if it's something that you want, truly want, and you are going to use, go ahead and buy those products, but you're not going out of your way to buy things for one video. We're being smart about how we're spending our time, our money, our energy, and our resources. So start looking around. How can you incorporate these things into what you're already creating? How can you create lifestyle content to build your community and that conversation that you're having inside of your community? I want you to go and list everything that you can think of. And then I want you to go home and I want you to just go through the list. Start finding crossovers. Start finding ways that you can cross promote and cross market. Start finding ways that you can work this into your everyday life content that you are creating. Go to the stores, see what is on shelves right now. What is popular right now? And if you're smart, you're going to track this throughout the seasons. So as we start to see the holidays roll out or the different seasons roll out, you're going to notice different crossover items. They might look a little different, but they're going to be relatively the same. Let's just think about what you are starting to see in the stores right now. And now let's think about how that's going to shift in a couple of months. Start looking for those crossover elements. I particularly right now, I'm thinking of like those beautiful, amazing dollar bins inside of Target or Walmart or some of those really cool stores. You see a lot of the same crossover stuff, but specific to that holiday season or to that season. And then you're going to see things coming back. So we see a lot of like beauty stuff, a lot of things for your makeup, and you see them from season to season. They look a little different, they change, but the underlying use for those things are going to stay the same. Think about some of the back to school things. Think about some of the kid products. Those things will look different season to season, collection to collection, but the underlying uses will stay the same. Now start thinking about how you can be implementing that into what you are doing inside of your brand. You are looking for things that are going to be easy for you to use. Now, as you're looking around in the store, again, remember, you don't have to use those specific products. You're taking your photos, you're taking your notes. Now go home and see what underlying versions you already own. Maybe you want to work with a water bottle company and you don't need to buy those products, but you have your own water bottles, a thermos that you can fill up from your Brita filter in your refrigerator, and you can use that. Show how you're using those things in your everyday life, and now you can build to the point where you can work with some of these companies. I know it's not the best example, but it's what I have sitting right next to me. You can be using these in a lot of different ways. You can be using what you have at home for those underlying purposes and needs, and then translate it into how it could be worked for those other things. You do not have to buy the products. You don't have to go out of your way, and you don't have to buy things you're not going to use. You do not have to use things that you don't actually use. Find parallel ways to be representing these things inside of your content. And now you've got really good examples that you can be showing them when it's time to reach out. And if you heavily work in one space, if you niche down on a lot of these different things, you have the ability for them to reach out to you as well. So work on building your audience, facilitating that conversation, and showing them now how you're using a lot of these things in your everyday life so that when you get those brand deals later on, those paid gigs, you already have that established with your audience and they know what to expect. So when you start tossing these products out, they're going to receive them a lot better because you're already doing it all along the way. So go to the stores, do your research, buy things if you want to, if you're going to use them, if you really like them, or if you want to try it yourself. Otherwise, find what you already have access to and start building upon that to get to the point where they're going to hire you for these different brands. And you've got that really great example content. It's already built into what you're doing. It's not going to be new. It's not going to be unfamiliar. It is going to feel comfortable for your audience. And you're going to be able to, with great detail and with great authenticity, give them access to these things because it's already part of what you've been doing all along. Questions on this, go ahead and follow down along below, and make sure you check out the playlist that I'm linking down below. It is all about influencer tips and tricks. We've actually got some really cool influencer specific videos coming up on how you, especially as a new influencer, can be growing and then thriving inside of this industry, and daily videos on how you can navigate the world of social media marketing, your content creation to save you time and effort and stress, and how you can make this your most profitable year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming videos.